Hey there. Welcome back to AskAmy. I have a question today from Timo, but before I get into that, I just want to mention again, I think I mentioned it last week, that I am teaching a totally free class tomorrow on Tuesday, August 2nd, about how so many people in the 5 years that the Little School of Big Change has been open have found freedom from unwanted habits, from anxiety. I'm going to walk through some examples of how most people go about trying to change or help themselves with these things and how we do it in the Little School of Big Change. And you'll see how different the two are, you know, what our standard go-to methods are versus what I call the Little School of Big Change way or the no willpower way, how we approach these things. And it's night and day different, and it's the reason why the school is so effective and why it's helped so many people in the 5 years that it's been open. It's just reached thousands of people in a lot of corners of the globe, and it just keeps on getting better. So I'd love to invite you to come to that course, especially if you have not yet been through the Little School of Big Change and you're curious about what we do and why it's so effective. So you can register for that course at the link that I'll put in the description here. And yeah, when you join the course, you'll also get the opportunity to start the Little School of Big Change curriculum totally free. You can start it and get partway through it absolutely no cost to you. So check that out. Okay, so Timo's question is a little long. I'm gonna skip through parts of it, but I'm gonna read a good chunk of it so that I can speak to it. But I think it's so relatable to many people. So it's an important one. So he says, "Dear Amy, I'm 35 today, and I haven't been in a real relationship for over 10 years since my first one ended dramatically. There's been a constant pull and push between me and my ex since then, which never led to real closeness or a true or stable relationship again." He says, "Last year I met someone special, and I did not manage to open myself to trust, and I ultimately lost this person. With my insecurity, which I didn't see as such last year, it's difficult to form a healthy base. I have few close friends gathered over the years, but other than that, I've struggled the past years to build up any social network. Reading your books has been a blessing, and I found a calmness within connected to old familiar feelings of stability and self-trust. This calmness has led me to take steps toward the person from last year who I believe I love, but I'm struggling to hold on to that calmness. Now that I'm trying to do differently than last year from a better base, thanks in parts to your books, I feel immensely insecure the closer we get. Draw up patterns in my mind about how best to approach the relationship, attempt which feels like I'm trying to force myself to be a certain way so that I fit, or simply have a construed image in my head of how I should love this person. What I'm afraid of is, am I misinterpreting love? Am I only projecting, or are projections just overriding what I truly feel?" So I hear you, Timo, saying that you're trying to go back to that relationship from this calmness and this healthier base, which you're now sensing, which is awesome. But it's not easy, but your mind is questioning a lot and not quite sure what you're doing here. He says, "I'm afraid there are better choices for the other person than to pick me. Perhaps because I'm a mess, I'll just live my life in solitude. These fears maybe only seem to run so deep in my history beginning as a child. I know they're ultimately thought patterns and that there exists something else. However, the sadness within at times just feels so overwhelming and desperate. It's simply difficult to believe that there should ever be possible to change or overcome. They especially appear when I'm getting close to somebody, which has kept me shielding and isolating my authentic self from the outside for so long." Yes. In your book, The Little Book of Big Change, you talked about the difference between ignoring and dismissing. What do I do with this particular endless ocean of feelings? It just feels like it feels so much like ignoring, which is pushing and keeping the feelings away, rather than dismissing. Dismissing requires some form of acknowledgement, perhaps. I can't wrap myself around these feelings as it seems like a bottomless pit. The sad thing is, I connect these sad and despaired thoughts when opening myself to someone. Yes, it just feels so vulnerable and lost, and it feels like it's hijacking any intention of mine to get close to somebody. It feels better to shield up again and to isolate. I don't think it is, but what's the path? So, first of all, I know that you feel I mean, I can relate to how you feel, and I think everybody listening can, in relationships with regard to other changes we've tried to make in life. Like sometimes it's like that thing of knowing that things are safe, like knowing intellectually that things are safe, knowing that you can have a relationship in your case, that it doesn't need to be this hard, knowing kind of that you're pulled, trusting that pull toward this person or any person and wanting that closeness, but at the exact same time just feeling like wall after wall after wall keeps coming up. And it's hard. It's so hard, and it can throw our mind in such a tailspin because our mind's trying to figure this out. Like, well, I'm pulled toward it, but I'm also pushed away from it. So what do I do with that? You know, and of course, a mind, you got to love a mind. It just wants an answer to everything. It wants to figure everything out. And this is super confusing and impossible, really, for a mind to figure out. So it's going to be a mess. It's going to feel like a mess. So I say that to say that this is so human and understandable, and you can trust what you're sensing even when it's hard. So that you want to be close with someone, that you want this connection, that everything you're saying, you know the answers, that you do, despite how you feel, you do deserve connection, you do deserve to be in a relationship if that's what you want. All of that, like that, those preferences and that pull and those desires are there because that's natural. That's so natural. And that does not mean that it's going to always feel easy. So the fear, whatever has happened, whatever your mind has said, nope, not gonna be rejected, or I'm not gonna feel that again. Your mind is trying so hard to protect you from something. So it has you not wanting to open up, right? It has you starting to open up, and then your mind freaks out and says, oh no, this is too vulnerable. It's too dangerous. We have to shut down again. Or it's not going the way we thought it should go. We better shut down again. So see if you can see it in that way. All humans are exactly the same. This has nothing to do with you. It has nothing to do with anything that's happened in the past. We are connection because we are one. We are one. We are connected. There is no separation ultimately. So to be with other people and relate and open up to them, it is our nature. It's the nature of every single human on earth. And what you're describing is exactly what happens to a mind. A mind says, I'm a separate me and I'm not good enough to be with someone else. And that feels so compelling. It feels so true and real, but it literally can't be, because you are everyone else. Like, we are one. We are this connection. So a mind's job is to separate. It's to lump and categorize and separate and say, I have this issue and this feels too scary and this is too dangerous for me. And we live in the feeling of that, and it feels incredibly real. And at the same time, the truth of the matter is there is no me. There is this oneness, and it's why why we're all pulled to have closeness and connection with others. So much of our freedom in this regard, Timo, is seeing it's in what we kind of make of what we're experiencing. So the more you can kind of see, okay, yeah, I want to explore this relationship again, and it's going to feel scary. It's going to put off alarm bells in my mind. My mind is going to say, nope, too much, not going there, shut down again, run away. This person's better off without me. You can kind of know that's likely to happen. And I say it like that because, I mean, the thing to see in this is that is all just a mind trying to protect you, but it's not protection. And it's not anything you need. It's definitely not anything you need, or else you don't need that. There's no danger in opening to someone. There's ultimately no danger. Now, do feelings get hurt? Do people get attacked? Does psychology get hurt? Of course. Psychology gets hurt in the best of relationships, in the worst of relationships, and your psychology is hurt when you're not in a relationship. So like having our feelings hurt and feeling psychologically not great, that's just part of being alive. And truly, you're not saving yourself from that by staying alone. Not at all. In fact, you're adding much more, right? Because now you're just solitude, and your nature is saying, go, connect, love, and you're shutting that down. So that's one thing I want to tell you about the vulnerability. Yes, it feels very scary and very vulnerable, and everything in our psychology will want to keep us safe from that. But it's not actually keeping you safe from anything. And that whether this or any relationship goes beautifully or it ends horribly or there is no relationship, we're all going to feel lots of stuff either way. We're going to feel lots of highs and lots of lows in life. And you see what I mean? So it's like when your mind pretends like it's saving you from all of these dangerous things, it's not. It's giving you a whole different host of unpleasant feelings by keeping you alone and having you wonder, what's wrong with me and why can't I be in a relationship? So what I want to say about that then for you is, yes, as you open up little by little, as you explore this, as you're honest with this person, as you just show up whatever feels authentic to you, it's going to feel uncomfortable. I can promise you that. And you are built for discomfort. You can handle it. All that you're feeling is it's not life saying don't go there. It is a old mind story saying don't go there. So it's not about pushing through. It's about seeing it for what it is. It's about seeing, oh, look at how my mind wants to protect me, but I'm going to hang out in this just for like a second longer. I'm going to say that thing even though my mind's telling me don't say that thing sometimes. And you don't have to do this perfectly. Again, it's not a formula for pushing through and like feel the fear and do it anyway kind of thing. It's like we just kind of come to know more and more, okay, I don't want to trust my mind in all this. My mind is just trying to keep my life really small to keep me alive. Everybody's mind is doing that. And this discomfort that feels so terrifying and horrible isn't really as it feels. What you're feeling there is this resistance. You're feeling this big story, and it can feel like life or death. I totally get that. But as we start to explore that more and more too, it's like what I'm feeling is all this stop, no, stop, hold back, don't go there. And our mind will instantly say, danger, red alert, don't do that. But we get to have an expanded view of that. Like we start to see, oh, that's just what my mind's doing. And behold, it starts not feeling so powerful and not feeling so dangerous. So we naturally get to kind of lean into this discomfort little by little. So for you in this relationship, what I would love to see you do is be brutally honest with this person about where you are and how it's feeling to you. You have nothing to lose. And see if they're willing to kind of be in this with you and to be patient with you. And that might mean that you start to open up and then you shut down. That's okay. It's okay. You notice that when you do, or maybe they give you feedback on that. And then you see it. Then you see, oh, yep, that's what happened. I got scared. I mean, people do this. People in like healthy relationships, this is part of it. We get scared. We make mistakes. We shut down. We push the other person out. They point it out or we see it, and then you go back to the drawing board. So you don't have to be perfect, and these things don't have to be absent from your life. You just want to start to see that they don't need to run your life, that they are tendencies and they are discomfort that might arise, but you can be okay in that, and you can move forward a little bit anyway. And when you can't, that's okay too. So I would love for this relationship, I don't want to make it sound like it's a practice thing or an opportunity for you to grow and learn, because obviously there's another person and their feelings are at stake. But in a sense it is. And as long as you're honest with that person about what you're feeling and what you're going through, and they're willing to be in that with you, see if you can do that. See if you can play with this a little bit without worrying about what's going to happen, because that relationship could go wonderfully or it could go horribly or it could go nowhere. And that's just going to be whatever it is. That's not going to be because you tried to open up. If anything, the opposite. You have much more to gain by playing in this arena with this person and leaning into some of this than you do by just going back to solitude and saying, oh, they're better off without me anyway. You have nothing to really gain there at all. So lean in and see. And as to your question about ignoring versus dismissing and all of that, I don't think you have to worry about any of that. It's neither. It's neither. Like, you don't need to ignore anything. You don't need to dismiss anything. And you don't really even need to know the difference. What's helpful is seeing, okay, all of this is just my mind trying to protect me, but it isn't protective. It is safe. I am safe. Even the feelings of fear and resistance, safe. All safe. Everything's safe. This person rejecting you sometime, safe. Not what you want, but it's not going to kill you. You rejecting them or you rejecting yourself and going back into solitude, safe. You've done that many times. There's nothing really at risk here. So lean in, see what you can get comfortable with. Don't worry about dismissing or ignoring. It's more, as you explore this in this conversation more and more, you see that it's more about just seeing how thought works, seeing thought as thought. That's what starts to relax everything and allow us to just be in life in a much easier way. And I think you're joining us in the September Little School Big Change course, which is awesome because you will see that this is exactly what I'm talking about. You will just kind of come to see all of this in a really different way, which is going to take a lot of that pressure and a lot of that weight off of things. So I hope that's helpful. One quick thing I wanted to mention too, when your mind is saying, is this real? Am I projecting? Is it this? Is it that? Just know that's what a mind does. That's when things are really confusing and there's a million fired questions and all of that. You don't need to answer those questions. That's your mind saying, let me figure this out, because if I can figure this out, you'll feel okay. But your okayness doesn't come from your mind figuring things out. Your mind will never figure things out. Mine won't either. It'll just ask a lot of questions. So you don't need to know any of that stuff. There's nothing in that really. It's more about just doing what feels right and leaning into these feelings a little bit and testing this out with this other person if possible. And seeing that it just isn't as dangerous and there's nothing at risk the way that your mind tells you there is. So thank you so much for your question. I really hope this is helpful for a lot of people. I think it will be. So hopefully I'll see you guys tomorrow on the free class, and I will see you back here next week with another Ask Amy question. Have a great week.